Petrified about navigating the cancer maze of decisions and activities before you or your loved ones? Thinking you need to cut through the clutter with expert support by your side? Pause, think about it with intentional thought, and consider where we go from here. Stay tuned and hear what survivors Melissa D. Major and Dr. Ebbie Jackson got to say about how MD patient navigation can answer the call.
Something to think about with Dale Happy Knowles. What we think, we become. What we radiate, we attract. What we imagine, we surely can achieve. Let's change the narrative 242.
Welcome to Something to Think About with Dale Happy Knowles. Join our co-sponsors Dom Dev Enterprises and Paja Investments and our friends at Something to Think About in this discussion today, where we're going to learn some goody nuggets that will help us along our way and get rid of some of the fears that we have in life, particularly with our health. And we're going to have two nice, lovely ladies on the screen with me. So they'll balance out all of the harsh sights that are coming from me. But welcome, ladies, Dr. and Melissa. How are you all?
I'm happy. I'm good. Good evening to your listeners and to social media. I'm doing excellent. I am grateful and thankful for life.
Awesome. Great.
Can I say that it's the same for me? I'm good, and I'm honored to be on the show with the both of you.
Awesome.
Yeah. This is an interesting trio. The three of us on this show.
I know.
Yeah. I know. You know, I met both of you all through each of the other. Some years back, and so it's interesting that this came to fruition like this. But help our audience know a little bit about you both personally, and then also we could tap into your experience with the big C, the big cancer.
Okay, I'm Ebbie Jackson. I do a lot of things. I'm a busy person. I have a busy life. I'm a wife. I'm a mother. I'm an eye specialist. I run marathons. I'm an author. People have to remind me to say that. And I do a lot of things, and I'm involved with a lot of community outreach programs here and internationally. I'm involved quite a bit with Missions International. So I do a lot of things, and I'm excited about doing the things. I'm about helping and bettering myself and the lives of others and even our community. So that's me in a nutshell.
Cool. And you, Melissa?
So I am currently a marketing and business development manager, senior manager. And my passion and my love, of course, is patient advocacy, especially for cancer patients. And I'm also a mom and a wife. And I'm just excited to be here and have this conversation with you. Like, I am ready.
Cool. Well, I'm Dale Happy Knowles, and I'm not a mom or a wife, but I'm here with you both.
You always
Cool. So tell us now, all for those who don't know out there, all three of us have had our journey, and so give us a little bit about when you were diagnosed. What was your reaction?
Melissa needs to go first because she's a little longer than me.
Okay, so I'm a 21-year cancer survivor. Oh, so sorry about that. My mic was just muted. So I am a 21-year cancer survivor of non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, which is a cancer of your lymphatic system, your immune system. And when I was first diagnosed, I think I was just numb, you know, when the doctors told me I was 26. So I was considered at the time as a young adult cancer survivor. And I was just numb, happy. Like I remember the doctors telling me I was in the hospital for a while. I was having these chest pains. I was admitted in the hospital we had to do a surgery and a triple biopsy, some heart surgery thing, because
Wow.
I had a tumor in my chest bigger than a grapefruit. And when I came out, the doctor said, I went to the doctor with my mom, and they were like, it's the tumor is cancerous. And at the time, I think it was like me and another lady that had non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, which is one of those rare cancers that young people get. And I was sent to MD Anderson to do some further testing. And I decided to do my chemotherapy and radiation there. So,
Cool. And you, Doc?
I was diagnosed in 2010 with breast cancer, probably around stage 3. People like to find about stage. So for them who want to know, we're on that stage, I guess. But stage didn't matter to me. And, so I had to take a year off from work. Not I had to. I had no choice. And having had 4 surgeries in 1 year, and then 2 surgeries after that, along with chemo, radiation, recovery, I am just here because God has healed me, and I am grateful for that. Now, I got to tell you a little bit about my family history because that is significant. My mom succumbed, 51, with breast cancer, and before her, several other family members. So cancer has been in the family for a very long time. And I think we may have it on both sides of my family because my dad's sister went with breast cancer. His niece went with brain tumor. And then in my immediate family, out of 8, 5 of us have been diagnosed. So cancer hits home really close to us. But I started running marathons just before cancer. And after that, I've been running ever since. So it's been a journey, and it continues to grow.
So, and when you were told that you both had cancer, did that fear factor kick in, or is it that you automatically know you conquer this? Because I get the impression that a lot of people, I wouldn't say trip out, but come close to it in terms of they lose all sense of logical thinking when they get diagnosed, and then they go through this maze of things trying to figure out what to do, and without any help, or it seems like they don't have any help, or they're not listening to their help, whichever. What's your take on what's happening in the Bahamas?
Actually, when I went through it, I remember the fear factor, of course, did kick in, because I remember one of the things the doctor said was that I had 3 to 6 months to live, providing I didn't get proper treatment. And, my mom was with me during that time, and I remember she just burst out crying. And once again, I was numb. And I guess this is so important, from my own experience. I was just numb to the fact of, after he said 3 to 6 months, I didn't hear anything else that doctor said after that. Wow. And I remembered walking out of the doctor's office, and, I said to my mom, I said, well, he told me I was going to die. Why are you crying? But I could understand, right? A child, 3 to 6 months to live. And it is somewhat a scary journey, especially if you don't have anyone that's there with you or supplying you with information as you go through it. And I can, attest to the fact that I had a really, really good support team. I had an amazing oncology team here locally in Nassau, as well as abroad at MD Anderson in Houston, Texas. And then, of course, my family. And believe it or not, Happy, I actually worked with a patient navigator. And this is what always had me excited about this profession, a patient navigator, a patient advocate. I worked with a patient navigator throughout the entire process. So literally every step of the way, I had some assurance of what was going to happen next. So,
Awesome.
but I mean, the fear factor definitely was there. But I was able to work and manage myself, through it, as well as getting professional help mentally. Like, I literally had an entire team of doctors, from, the mental health to the oncologist to the nutritionist. I was at a research center. So this is what my experience was.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Awesome.
For me, I was training for my first full marathon. I did my first half marathon that January of 2009. So now I'm training for my first full marathon in Miami. And the interesting thing with me, in my case, after training for the marathon, I felt a bearing down. And so I'm thinking, well, hey, maybe my uterus could be dropping or lowered because I'm feeling this bearing down.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went and I saw my doctors. They examined me and they said, no, your uterus is fine. You could still run the marathon. So I'm training. January came of 2010. And 2 weeks later, I had trouble raising my right hand. So in my mind, I'm saying, I hoping this is inflammation, but knowing my family history, I'm not even going there. I'm just thinking this is inflammation. Well, and then I rolled over in bed and I realized my breast tissue is really hard, but I'm seeing my doctors every year doing my mammograms and everything is fine. So they said, that's the menopausal factor kicking in. But the trouble of raising my arm it got worse. And so I knew I needed to go to the doctor, but the fear factor kicked in. I didn't want to go, but I knew I needed to go. Mm-hmm. And I didn't tell anyone and I didn't do anything. Well, a friend of mine came into my office one day and they were able to read my face, I guess, and say, what's wrong with you? And then I unloaded. Mm-hmm. And they assisted me. We called the doctor right then. And the doctor said, well, just go and do the mammogram. Okay, because I told him I'd seen the doctors and he just sent me to do so. I said, fine. The next day I went, only to find out I have a tumor, undisclosed mass. And so once I knew that I was like, okay, I need to know what's next. And he said, well, you need to do an MRI in order for us to give a definitive diagnosis. I said, when? He said, if you come back this evening, I'll do it. I went that evening and sure enough, he said, wow, you have a 10 centimeter. He said, your entire breast is a tumor, really. Okay. Mm-hmm. And once I knew that, I'm the kind of person, once I know, I'm going to react. But yes, fear is a factor. We can't be ignorant of that. It grips you. And if you don't try to do something about it or have people to support you, it could take you down, and we've seen it happen to a lot of people. So once I found out what I was dealing with, and keep in mind also in my family, nobody survived cancer. Mm-hmm. So right away we're thinking,
terminal.
The D word, death.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So once y'all got past this stage, or you got to the stage, then the next thing people normally experience is this maze of decisions and activities that need to happen. And a lot of people don't know where to go. In your cases, you both come from, I guess, sound backgrounds of having experience or association with the disease before and stuff. So you had a sort of idea. But what is the experience in the Bahamas? What does people normally experience? Because Melissa, I know you were doing stuff with the Cancer Society. But I guess the two of y'all actually, because Doc used to speak to them all the time. That's my first meeting.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You know what is interesting, Happy? You know how Melissa and I met? Melissa was working at the Cancer Society and she used to put on programs. Mm-hmm. So she had, and I never went to the Cancer Society, was never involved. But this particular program she was putting on was with 5 women who had gone through cancer treatment. Mm-hmm. I think 2 in the US and 2 in the Bahamas, say Melissa.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And we're now comparing, the treatments, how everybody handled being treated abroad and being treated. So when I saw that, I said, this is an interesting topic. I think I need to go. Because see, when I looked at my situation, I was going to do everything here, right? Mm-hmm. I was prepared to do everything here. And my girlfriend said to me, please, if you're coming over, come and see my surgeon for a second opinion before you do anything. So we decided that's what we'll do. And only to find out, well, here at this point in time, they were saying to me, okay, you need surgery. And after surgery, then you may have to do chemotherapy. And then when I saw them over there, the surgeon said to me, "So what did they say in the Bahamas?" And I told him, and he said, "Surgery and whatever." I don't want to get into too much of that. I don't want to knock our system or anything. But in any event, I was happy where I was led because, I mean, my process was quite a bit different. Of all the things I've had to endure, I don't know if I would be here today after having so many surgeries and going through TB treatment, and the list goes on and on. However, so I said, you know what? I need to go to this meeting because I want to hear what these women are saying. I'm happy. I don't know why I went to that meeting, but I went. And Melissa could tell you, I sat and then I listened. And I was just so frustrated because I know of what women are enduring here in terms of treatment. Okay. And I think we had a very young girl, and I don't even know if she's still alive. I hope she is, Melissa. Remember, she was about 21 or so.
She is still alive.
And doing well. I thank God
she's
for
alive
that.
and doing well.
Yeah, but being that young and having treatment here, so hey, thank God we're still doing good things. But a lot of people have had issues. So when the meeting was almost over, I don't know why my hand went up, but my hand went up, and I just had to vent because I'm like, okay, all of us who are really doing well, we got treatment in the United States. What is happening here in our country with so many women with issues and whatever? And when I started talking, everybody looking at me like, who is this woman and what she trying to bring up and so on and so forth. But I just had to share what was on my heart and mind. And Melissa, now when the meeting was over, she pointed at me, say, listen, I need to talk to you. I need to see you. I always knew her name, but never knew who she was. And that's how we connected. And she and I, we've been on the same page ever since in terms of what we would like to see happen in our country. Because yes, we both received treatment abroad. We know what it's like to have patient navigation, to have the help, the assistance, and whatever have you. And when you hear some of the stories of what happens here, you will cringe. Okay? So that's why she and I have been on board trying to do a lot of things. People don't know. I mean, just quietly and helping and seeing how we could make a contribution to our society.
Right.
Yeah.
So now, sorry, you go ahead, Melissa. You can say something.
No. I was about to just say that, I ever since that moment, Abby and I, she has also served as one of the support group leaders for the Cancer Society as well. And it has been an amazing experience working there as their programs and education coordinator, as well as volunteering, right? I still volunteer with them actually.
Okay.
And I still help out with support group and any other whatever else that they might need. I'll go and help them out. I think as it relates to treatment in the Bahamas, we have advanced.
Yes,
we have advanced tremendously. And I must say that, and I've had an opportunity to work with the oncologists here, as well as them being my oncologist as well, and I'm in a situation where, even having to go to PMH for assistance as well, I think the biggest part of it is we have to learn how to become our own health advocates and manage the process. And in the time that I've had to work with patients, because this didn't just come about, like Abby said, we've been doing this, behind the scenes for a very, very long time. It's just that I got to the point now, happy, where I actually went and I did my certifications. I took a deep dive into what patient navigation really is, because we don't have a formal service here for patient navigation. And most places that have patient navigation, are like the big hospitals, the NGOs, stuff like that in the US. So the organization that I'm running, of course, it'll be an independent until I could grow it to the point where, it's big enough. And then, of course, it's an entire community, because a patient navigator works with the entire healthcare team of a patient. So I just want to say that, having the opportunity to work with the team here, our treatment has advanced tremendously. The doctors are doing what they can with what they have. And so I think the only other step now is making sure that the patients are actually managing the process as they're
Right.
going through their treatment, and that is going to require a bit of empowerment.
Right.
That is going to require some classes, that is going to require a few sit down. When I was given the option to stay here or go away, Dr. Lon was actually my oncologist. And because I was so young and I was like the second person in the Bahamas at the time, and this is 20 something years ago, I was the second person in the Bahamas at the time that had presented with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma.
Mm-hmm.
And I had insurance at the time, so I could afford to go away. I had the insurance and I was able to, go away to MD Anderson. They were on my network. So that is, where I went. I wanted to stay home because I didn't want to be away from my family, because I think one of the things too that, whether you could go away or not and determining where you're going to do your treatment, you have to factor all of that in, because we couldn't afford, cancer is very expensive. I already maxed out $1 million. It's very expensive. So to have my family back and forth, that is going to take away from me possibly being able to do my treatment. So I think people should also consider that as well, when you're deciding where you want to do your treatment. That payment factor and going away is also, a big deal. But so I went away because I could afford it. I had insurance. And that was still expensive because I went to Houston and my family had to find a caregiver to come and stay with me because they had to work to find money to come and pay the bills. So, I had a cousin at the time who was in college, and she could have done it online, and she decided that she would come, and she stayed with me the entire time. But before that decision was made, my family had to take turns coming up there to see me.
Yeah.
And the three of us had treatment abroad at some point.
Yeah.
But the thing about it is that it all depends on the type cancer you have.
Yes,
the
definitely.
stage you're at.
Yep.
What treatments are available. These
Yeah.
are all factors that have to be considered. I mean, everyone would love to be able to do treatment home and get the best care that they possibly can. But let's face it, we know we're limited in terms of a lot of things and a lot of in terms of a lot of lab stuff and a lot of x-rays and all the different things that you need. Because I tell people I've been in almost every machine that's out there, for this, you present yourself for this and that. A lot of things we don't have here. So we are limited, but it all depends on if you have the insurance and if you could afford to have the treatment abroad. But I say to persons, whenever you start, just get a second opinion to know that everybody's on the same page. And that's what my oncologists and doctors always did with me abroad. They said, listen, before we do anything, we want a second opinion to make sure we're all on the same page. And that is what is very important.
Yeah. But when I went away, I always knew, because my uncle was at MD Anderson, that I wanted to go once. If I ever got the big cancer, then I was going to go there for them to give me an opinion. At least that was the thought, to just get an opinion and come back and deal with what I got to deal with. I knew there was a treatment that I was not going to do in the Bahamas. That was for sure. But only because, like you said, that the facilities, not that the doctors or anything like that was short in knowledge or experience of it, but the facilities just wasn't there back then, right? Yeah. And I know of a lot has happened. I went through the Dr. Brown's office also, Center, and Dr. Porter. I don't know if you all remember Dr. Porter.
Yeah, I remember Dr. Porter.
He said to me that if you want 1,000 opinions, go and get them. Just go and get them quickly. And wherever you end up, it would be all well and good. Don't mind you thinking that you have to come back to me or anything like that. No, that's not the case. But my treatment ended up being way different than what would have been originally prescribed, and also what Dr. Porter would have prescribed. So it's good to go through, walking through all of these things. And so that brings us to the point now where I want to know, what is, excuse me, what is MD Patient Navigation?
So MD Patient Navigation, basically, it's an organization that provides a service for patients. cancer patients, and from the beginning of treatment, basically till the end of life care. And basically, the service helps cancer patients with any type of barrier that they might experience. And some examples would be like information research. Sometimes we think we have Google and Google is our best friend, but you might not
YouTube.
necessarily, or YouTube, right? But that might not be the best information suited for you. So I would eliminate, or the team would eliminate, that factor of having to go and do the research. As well as sometimes persons might need somebody to accompany them to and from their visit. You might need to go to a visit, and a family member won't be able to go with you. And like I said, the three of us know you go to the doctor visits, and sometimes what the doctor's saying actually sounds like a foreign language. And especially with older persons, you take them to the visits, and when they come back home, they don't have an understanding of basically what the doctor says. So for the family island patients, there's also the availability of helping with finding lodging. They come to Nassau, they need someplace to stay. So it's almost like a full service. All of it, of course, is non-clinical, because I don't have that nursing clinical background, because you have nursing navigators as well as you have non-clinical navigators. So I will be dealing with the non-clinical part of the patient navigation. So basically, it's assistance throughout your entire patient care. And it's just monitoring and keeping you on track, basically, just eliminating the burden of, whatever experience that, you might have that you already worrying about cancer. You don't need to worry about everything else. You don't need to worry about, I need to go get that pathology report, or, I need to get all of these labs before I go to my next visit. Like literally, I will coordinate everything for you.
Yes.
When
before you go, Doc, whilst I was over there was so many things to do and to remember. You going through being the patient, you're not going to remember all those and do all this in the time. And so I was blessed to have my mom there who did a lot of that. And what you were saying is basically a lot of what she did there, but not everybody have that. So Doc, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, after connecting with Melissa at the cancer center, and we met a lot of family island patients who stayed there. Okay? And a lot of these patients are lost. Lost in terms of what they're dealing with. For one, they have nowhere to go, so thank God for the Cancer Society that provides housing for them, and it's a good home away from home. Okay. And in talking and counseling with a lot of them, because we spent a lot of time as support leaders, they don't have answers to so many different questions and things. And I kept saying to Melissa, we have to be able to find a way to support these people in some way. But, a lot of times too, they come, they don't realize the seriousness of their situation. And they may come to the meeting, they may not, but they go through the treatment and then they go back home. And there is really nothing for them in these family islands. So it has always been our desire to how we could connect with family island patients, to be able to provide support for them, and to be somebody here to provide whatever is needed. And Melissa's always been actively involved with these people from time immemorial, from the time I met her.
I don't know. They just find me.
And I kept saying to her, you need to get going. You need to get going with this, because she's been talking about this for so many years and always bouncing it back off me. And I'm saying to myself, when is Melissa going to do? So she finally got going and got everything established. And so that's why I'm here this evening to tell the people what I intend to do to help support this particular organization.
Right. And we can get into that in a second. And Melissa, the thing, like we say at the beginning of the show and throughout the show, is, what you radiate, you will attract. So,
there you go. I like
that's
that.
What people get that, right? And so forth. But one of the things that that we need to also highlight is that people might go on the YouTube or ask other doctors and stuff about the medical part of being in your journey with getting rid of cancer, etc. But as Melissa was saying, it's that administrative part, that management part that when you might just need somebody to say hello to, or what's happening tomorrow, or what in case you might forget. All of those things come under the services that these two young ladies are talking about, the very young ladies.
Now, one thing we want to say, Happy, and we have to reiterate this: stop getting information from people who have not gone through the process.
Right.
We have a lot of that in this town where we have people advising you on cancer and they don't know nothing about cancer other than what they saw happen to their cousin, they this one, they that one, and so on and so forth.
And don't know why that happened to that person either.
Right.
They still comment on it.
And they're giving the best advice to patients, and patients are actually taking their advice. So, we want to say, listen, get sound advice from persons who would have gone through it. And definitely Melissa's organization,
trained to deal with it.
Right, would provide that kind of service.
Yeah, people, when you're going through cancer, and people play on that fear factor, right? And as a cancer survivor, it's almost as if I am willing to try anything to save my life. And believe it or not, a lot of people actually do that. Like I will do anything to save my life. I remember, some of the experiences of persons. Of course, chemotherapy is a bad rap. Don't do it. It kill this one, kill that one. And I always tell people, listen to me. I did 8 cycles of chemotherapy and 28 days of radiation, and I am here 21 days later. I had choices as it relates to what type of treatment I was going to do, and I did the one that would have possibly allowed me to have a baby, and I have a baby, right?
Wow.
And so I think, when people just don't know and they just want any type of hope, because, remember now, what is the soursop? People are like, oh, what soursop will save your life.
Cure everything.
Cure everything.
No, it was something before soursop now.
Moringa, and I'm not saying
no, and I'm not, it was this, it was that. I'm just waiting to hear the latest one now. That's what I'm waiting to hear.
So I'm not hitting and saying don't do it, right? But people need to understand and know that if you are going to do this, and you need to communicate with your doctor, because bush medicine is medicine.
Right.
So, and bush medicine needs to be administered as if it's medicine, because you could literally hurt yourself. And if you're taking bush medicine and doing chemotherapy, what do you think is going to happen? One of them ain't a what?
Drug interaction.
Right?
But that's one of the first things that my oncology at MD Anderson said to us, the nurse actually.
Yeah.
And and she said, listen, you from the Bahamas, I know you always deal with bush medicine. Decide you can do bush medicine or you can do the medicine we give you. Don't do both because you can be flatline. She told me just like that.
Me too. Well, we went to the same place for treatment, so obviously, right? Yeah. So, that was like front and center for me. And, it wasn't even a matter of bush medicine. It was also because I have always been into fitness. I've always been into nutrition, and I've always, and one of the things too, in meeting with my nutritionist and a dietitian, she has also said to me, even certain supplements you should not take while you are doing your treatment because of the drug interaction. So, it's very important. And anybody that comes to me, because I'm a certified health coach, anyone that comes to me and say, hey, this is what I'm doing, I always say to them, listen, you need to go and have a conversation. Please let your doctor know what it is that you're taking, because this could end up being a bad thing.
Right.
Yeah.
And
as simple as vitamins.
We also have to reiterate too that, okay, if you don't choose traditional medicine and you choose, what other type treatment you choose, keep in mind, we don't know of no studies that cure cancer from these foods or bush medicine or whatever. Now, some people say it has prolonged their life and whatever, but you need to have that discussion with your oncologist to say, listen, whatever choice or treatment you decide, we know chemicals have killed cancer. Now they're going to kill good and bad cells in the process.
Right.
But in the end, you will do okay. And that all depends on the type of cancer you have, how aggressive it is, where it is, and all of that.
Yes.
I know people who've had to have strong chemotherapy drugs, and yes, we know it kills nerve fibers and it damages the body, and some people never recover. But at least have that conversation with your oncologist, so to know whatever treatment you decide, at least this is the page we're on and this is what we're going to do. But it's an individualized thing. There's not one cure or treatment process for everyone, so you need to know what you're doing and you stick with that.
You need to have a sensible conversation with someone that's been there, because I know a lot of people that have actually went the alternative route, and the alternative route requires 360-degree times 4 lifestyle change. You can't be working on a stressful job and talking about you drinking and eating spinach for breakfast and celery, but yet you still going having a stressful lifestyle, you still smoking and all this other stuff. So it requires, if you're going to do the integrative alternative lifestyle as it relates to treating cancer, you have to have a lifestyle change. It has to be, you can't just say, okay, I'm going to eat this, but then you don't change your lifestyle, So I think people need to consider that as well. And you have some treatment centers out there that do an integrative approach as it relates to cancer treatment, where you could get a little bit of both. But you just, once again, you have to decide, what is right for you. And the most important factor is what type of cancer it is that you're dealing with.
Yeah. And what also with that is that even if you go the alternate solutions, just like you need to find yourself a good doctor who can address your needs, you will need to find a good holistic medicine person, if that's the word, who know what they're doing in that field, because not everybody know what they're doing either, and they could cause you to get kahunkel up quick.
And a lot of things too are experimental. Let's face it.
Right.
A lot of things
there are a lot of alternative medicine treatment centers out there, and like I said, I do know people that have had great success, but I think the biggest success comes from the fact that they made the effort to change their lifestyle, and they have also made the effort, and they're also okay with living with the fact that there's a possibility that the cancer is still present, but due to the fact that it might be slow growing or whatever, I know someone that has stage 4 cancer, and they've been managing it very well. They don't live here, but they've been managing it very well. Alternatively, they're not doing any treatment, but they have their lifestyle is like, child,
rigid, very rigid.
Yeah.
If you look across the screen, you'll be looking at one who went from stage 4 and who had the most potent chemo and radiation that was legally authorized to be given to somebody of my body's mass.
Oh, wow.
And I'm still here, right? And that was 2009. So I might have some tattoos on my neck, but I'm still here too. So when we come back, we're going to dive into how we all can become these supernatural marathon runners for this cause and so forth. And but be sure to pile up all your questions, ask them, because this is almost 50 to 70 years or more of survivorship on this podcast, and
it sure is
all kind of things you could be asking that you have a question or concern for. We'll do that. So, Madam Producer, we'll be right back.
Sammy's Chicken, There's nothing like it.
When you're looking for clothing, you can shop from store to store. But when you need gowns and tuxedos for weddings, proms, or any black tie event, there's only one name to remember: Buttons Bridal and Formal Wear, since 1986. Enjoy gowns and tuxedos for any budget. We'll see you at Buttons Showroom in Cable Beach, Nassau, or visit buttonsformalwear.com. Nobody does formal wear like Buttons.
It was the night before Christmas as Santa's elves gazed through the window. They spotted Taste of Flavor ice cream sitting there waiting for them. So they sprang into action, making their way through the house, of course causing mischief along the way, even opening the refrigerator to make an all-new flavor for all the land. Toffee Nut. From peppermint to gingerbread, from red velvet to eggnog. These and a lot more irresistible flavors are available at Taste of Flavor Ice Cream this Christmas. Taste of Flavor Ice Cream. Local Bahamian homemade ice cream. Promotion ends January 2nd.
Welcome back to Something to Think About with Dale Happy Knowles. We're here with the lovely Melissa Major and Dr. Ebbie Jackson, and we're talking about how the MD patient navigation will answer the call when you get this message that you need to find a way to navigate yourself through all the challenges that you have with dealing with this dreaded disease. Welcome back, ladies.
Hi.
Hi.
Cool. So let's dive a little bit into now to remind me that I was an athlete one time ago. And, tell me, Doc, how or what we need to do in order to support this cause.
Yes, when I met you, when I married my husband, you both were playing, I think, on the same softball team. And then the other lady I knew also, because she and I were classmates.
Okay.
But after Melissa and I talked again, and she was so excited, she told me, listen, I finally got things going and everything. It's amazing, I say, how the Lord works in one sense, because when 2023 came, Dale, I am now entering my 60th year. I never thought I would reach this, milestone. So this year I may be able to stand on the bank line now without having to worry about showing my ID. So 2023 is my 60th year. And I said, you know what? I just want to give back. I've always been giving, but I really want to do something even more for this year. And being a marathon runner, I've been running marathons since 2009 half and 2010 first full. So I've been running consistently for 13 years. I had to put away my shoes for 1 year in 2020 to go through cancer treatment. And then after that, I was running full marathons ever since. So I think I've run about 20 full marathons and close to 20 halves during this time. So I said, listen, Melissa, since you're starting this, I'm going to run to raise some monies to help with this organization. And of course, to Sister Breast Cancer group. Sister has been doing a marvelous job here in the country from inception. I mean, they raise monies to buy pots to literally give to women because a lot of women can't afford to buy them.
Right.
Yeah.
And so they've been doing that for ages. Okay. I've never really been a part of Sister, but I've always been helping them or working with them. And so this year, my goal is to raise monies for those two organizations. So since this is the big 6-0 year, I want to raise at least a minimum of 60,000. Now, to some people, they may think, you're being quite a bit adventurous. I know we have that in this country and elsewhere,
Yeah,
and
we could
more.
do that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I've been involved in the lives of so many people in so many different ways and whatever have you. I just want to say, listen, come alongside now and let's give to these two organizations. I'm not going to benefit from anything and I don't want anything from it. I just want them to give. And so I will be running quite a few marathons this year. The first one is Sunday. I'm going to Florida to run the Miami half.
Mm-hmm.
And then in March, I will be running the Tokyo full marathon. And then in April, I'm running the full marathon for Boston. And the list goes on. And plus, I'll be running some shorter events here in Nassau.
Mm-hmm.
And I haven't decided yet. The birthday actually isn't until November. But so I haven't decided which marathon I will use to climax or whichever event. But at least for this first quarter now, these are the runs that I have on my agenda. So I've been training and trying to prepare myself. And I want people to give at least 16 or 60 or 600 or 6,000 or 60,000, whatever.
Yeah.
But let's make it relevant and let's raise this money to help. Because for one, when we think of sister, so many women have been helped and assisted. And, you know, the thing about us as Bahamians, we need to learn to give back. So women out there who would have been assisted by sister, this is your time to give back to that organization. Or family members, even if the person succumb, just give something in honor of that particular person. And then with Melissa's group organization, we're trying to really assist a lot of the family island persons who have gone through cancer to provide education for them, to bring them together online. You know, the Zoom platform or different platforms have opened up avenues for these persons. So we want to be able to bring them together on say a quarterly basis or however, and provide education. And then the one thing I said to Melissa, we really have to do here is provide more education for our people on cancer. Try to bring in speakers to talk more to Bahamians about cancer in our society and what we need to be doing as a people. Now, we know it's here, it's not going anywhere. So we as individuals need to be proactive and do what we can. So that's my goal. My goal is to run this year and raise this money in support of cancer. And then, like I said, my family, it's close to me and it's real. I lost my brother last September, the morning I was going to run Berlin Marathon. And believe me, I was ready. I got up. My husband knew. I didn't say anything to anybody else. And I tried to prepare myself. I was training. And when I got to mile 10, I was ready to quit. And one of the runners saw me. I ran up alongside her, girl from the Bahamas, and she said, "What happened to you?" And I told her, and she was like, "Oh my goodness." But she don't realize she inspired me to finish because, you know, in talking to her and in running, and then I saw where she was trying to beat me. And I was like, come on, Ebbie, you know better than this. And that's what gave me the impetus to really push and finish that marathon. But running is a part of my life. I remembered when going through treatments, my oncologist, she was trying to get me to stop because I was on a drug for 10 years that caused bone decay. You know, I had a lot of different pains and aches, bones, stuff like that. And I kept telling her, yeah, I can give it up, but I can't give up running because running is a part of my life. And I think it has helped me to where I am today.
Keep going.
So, you know, after 10 years, I had to do my exit treatment where I had to go through all the lab work and the x-rays and everything to see where I was. And when the doctors saw my results, she was amazed. She said, nobody has ever left our institution with these kind of results. So I know running has contributed to that, but more importantly, it's just God. So when I left, I was like, okay, so yes, I want to run this year to really raise funds for cancer. I saw a guy who ran somewhere in UK where he ran and raised over $350,000 for a cancer organization. You know, so I said, if these people could do this elsewhere, we must be able to do that here in our country.
So do you put like a number on to say incrementally in terms of a marathon is what 26 miles, and so you say for every mile or for whatever to help people guide what they could contribute to?
No, it's the big 60th year. So give that 6 number. But you know, some I'm gonna target my alma mater St. Anne's and tell them students even give $6.
Right,
You know,
right.
but just give 6.
Six
something
of
that's
something, right, that's what I
connected
meant,
with
yeah.
6. Yes, that's the goal. And give now. Melissa and I are trying to put together a GoFundMe page because we think that will be the easiest route to go. Because I have a lot of international friends and colleagues and want them to be able to contribute. So we will be putting that out there, and we're just going to ask persons to give. You don't even have to put your name on it if you don't want to, anonymous, but just give so that we can support these 2 particular organizations. That is the goal.
And they could get busy moving too and just run.
Yeah, some people could run here while I'm running there because you have a lot of that going on. Run a mile. Run a mile or run 2 miles or whatever, and just, hey, cheer me on. But, you know, I will be running with that in mind.
I'll be
the people in Laifiki, when I go through Laifiki to church, I see people have their little dogs tied to the little golf cart, and they'd be running with the dog on the side and stuff like that. So, you know, they could tie me to one car. So when I give out, then I could catch a ride for a couple of minutes and then start running again.
Well, the thing with marathon running, though, most people run marathons are over 40 and above. You have some in their 30s because the type training that is involved, young people are not gonna, they're not prepared for that. When we out there training 2:30 in the morning, they just going home. However, when you see these people, though, I have seen some elderly people, they run up on the side, you know, the next thing you know, they're gone.
They're gone, yeah.
You know, so it's a race of endurance.
They have that good endurance, yeah.
90% mental, I tell people.
Yep.
It's more mental than physical, but to be able to run a marathon, and for us who are marathon runners, you know, we fussing ourselves and we say, and never do it again, and then the next thing you know, we sign up for another race shortly thereafter. But it's an addiction. I tell you the truth, it's an addiction. But once you start doing it, you're considered one of the few in the world who would achieve that kind of stuff.
Well, I have a question, Abby. How many do you have to complete before it becomes an addiction?
One.
For some, it's one, you know.
One?
It's just one.
No, man, it has to be more than one.
No,
I think you do one and you just wow yourself like, oh, I did that, you know, and then like maybe the second or third one, then it's like, wow, you know what?
If you do 2 or 3, you will be doing much more after that. But persons will do one and then they say, no, I'm not doing it again. But if you do more than one, before you know it. And the good thing about it too, we get to travel. I mean, it's part of your vacation. So you get to travel and see places and run in the same, you know, run in that country. But a lot of people are running marathons today worldwide. These races are 40, 50,000 capped out. And you have major marathons in almost every city in America, in the world, and so on. So for us, my husband and I, we both run. So he and I will be running. We don't say run together because when that gun goes off, we can see each other at the finish line at some point. But, you know, it's just an opportunity to have good health, meet people from all over the world. And I met a woman, she's run 500 and something marathons. I'm not aspiring for that. Okay. But, and yeah, this lady's in her 70s and she's run over 500 plus. I think her record is 600 and something.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
Yeah. Well, folks out there, you know, ask your questions, you know, because I mean, yeah, I don't know if these young ladies here are just saying everything to you all that you don't know anything about, or they're saying everything that you need to hear, but or answer your questions. But if you have questions, ask them, or comments, just put them up there, see what's happening. I know the madam producer always have questions, so we'll see what happens there. So when you start to run these marathons now, and you get the ball moving, can other people run a marathon for you for the contribution?
If they want, sure, the more the merrier, happy. As much money as we could raise, hey, just come alongside, come on board, and let's do this.
Right.
I mean,
Teamwork makes the dream work.
yeah, you
Right.
know, this is only my desire, but if others want to be able to do it also, hey, let's do it. You know, like Nike
Right.
would say. So if you're interested, and then there are a lot of smaller running groups here or events here. I'm
Yeah.
going to try and ask some of them, and hey, listen, you get people to run and just give a portion of your donation to one of the organizations or the both.
Organizations, yeah.
Because they're both needful and lawful organizations in this country. I think we all know of somebody who has been impacted or who is being impacted as we speak and dealing with cancer. It's a major factor in our lives here in the Bahamas. So we need to do whatever we could do to try and help each other.
Yeah, you know, we're helping each other, but also, you know, there's the prevention factor in terms of educating persons as well. And a part of the community outreach that I do, you know, I have been ever since I was working from the Cancer Society, and surprisingly, I never stopped doing the lunch and learns and going into the schools and, you know, speaking about my experience, but more or less raising awareness in terms of this is what you need to do to lead a lifestyle that could possibly prevent cancer. Like Abby said, one thing she has always been big on ever since I met her has been education. Also, I've started a survivorship series that runs every first and third Saturday. And it's hosted at the Cancer Society. And, you know, we have an exercise element. We have a discussion element where we talk about nutrition, navigating your survivorship. And then, of course, there's the creative therapy. Not everybody could appreciate the sit down in a support group and, you know, that environment. But in terms of doing things in a creative manner, like painting or, you know, jewelry making or dancing or something like that to help with the anxiety, or adult coloring. You know, everybody knows I love adult coloring book. You know, that is also a part of the program, you know, as well as every quarter, you know, we'll be doing a Meet the Experts, and that will be an online, that will be streaming online once again to target the Family Islands to make sure that they're also in tune in terms of what is happening here in Nassau. So there's also 2 symposiums that's also planned for this year. And so from an educational standpoint, I think we pretty much have it covered. It's just a matter now of, okay, you know what, we need the funding to really get this all going. The patient navigation is one part of it, but the community outreach, you know, that's a whole another element. And the education part of it, everybody should be given the opportunity to get that exposure. You know, the patient navigation, if you want to work with me as it relates to patient navigation, there's an assessment that you would have to go through with me. You don't just come and say, well, okay, Melissa, I want you to be my patient navigator. No, it don't work like that, because, you know, there are legal documents and all this other things that has to be signed. And there are some things that we need to discuss. And that won't happen necessarily, you know, overnight. So there's a process to the patient navigation part of it, but you would have to get in contact with me to say, you know what, I want to talk to you further, and this is what I want to do. So yeah.
Yeah. And so on that point though,
You
in
see
terms
that
of
question?
yeah, I see it. And in terms of the care, what I found when I went to the Cancer Society to support the groups that you all were doing, a lot of the people were there, but they felt like they no longer could do normal life, right? And I found that the talks help people understand that continue to do what you can do of your normal life, and that played a big role in terms of helping people actually navigate through and come out successful at the latter end. So Lorraine McDonald here saying, do Bahamian men seek patient navigation services. Well, I guess the first part of that is that, and do they actually admit that they actually have a challenge? Yeah.
You know what? Working with, yes, Bahamian men do. A lot of them actually, I've had the opportunity to work with quite a bit of Bahamian men as it relates to patient navigation. And even, you know what, when I worked at the Cancer Society, a lot of the patients that were there that were actually men, you know, they actually came out because I did some patient navigation when I was there as well. And it's just a matter of coming, asking questions, you know, let me know what it is that you're having a challenge with currently in your treatment. And we pretty much take it from there. And once the relationship starts, this is a relationship, like I said, it continues throughout your survivorship, you know, because at the end of the day, after cancer treatment, the three of us know that's when the new normal actually begins.
Right.
You know, and it's almost as if you have to navigate life all over again. So you go through survivorship with your oncology team, with your primary care doctors. And after you're finished with oncology then sends you back to your primary care doctors. And you have to build that relationship with your primary care doctors as it relates to your health. But then there's life outside of that in terms of, okay, you know, eating different, your the psychology would be different. Exercising could possibly be different. And then this goes back to what type of treatment you had, what type of cancer it was, because, you know, all cancers are not the same. You know, you might not have full mobility based on what your treatment was or what type of cancer it is. So persons do seek out help. And I find that when they do come and they sit down and they have the initial conversation is always the hardest, right? Just admitting that you need help. And once they have that conversation and they keep it going and they start talking, man, it's the most beautiful. I want to say that every patient that I've worked with at the Cancer Society, I still have a relationship with.
That's
I
great.
think a big thing also is the fact of life after going through cancer treatment. That is a major thing that, you know, we need to talk more about. Now, everyone is different. You know, for me, running, and when people see me, if I don't tell them what I've gone through, they would never know.
They would never know. Yeah.
Some people, you could look at them and you could see, hey, they've been going through something. But in any event, you as a patient, after you would have gone and you're doing okay, you really need to continue on with your life. And it involves a healthy lifestyle. It involves interacting with people who can encourage, support you. And then too, a lot of times we all know if you start to feeling something right in your mind, you're thinking, oh, it's a cancer coming back.
Oh, definitely.
I mean, that is something you really have to get beyond. You know, but it requires support. And that's what we're here for. We want to be able to support individuals, and let's try to make our country healthy, because we are not a healthy set of people.
No.
Yeah. And we gotta understand one thing, that when you finish with your treatments and everything, and they say go back to your primary care, medical care, that's medical side of things, and most doctors today will focus on the medical because of all the lawsuits and the this and the that. But it's all of the other parts of life that you can get support from a community such as this. They help you along the way.
Yeah. And then, you know, you're involved with other survivors, and, you know, definitely they will share their experience. And, you know, we end up building a database with all of this information that people can actually tap into. And you can't beat that. That is absolutely, you know, that is amazing.
And if you look at the three of us, you know, we
look
have
young.
to say thank God for one.
Yeah.
But this is a lot of years together of going through treatment, diagnosis, treatment, recovery, patient navigation, and now we're just here to provide our expertise to our community and to help in whatever way we can.
Awesome. Well, ladies, it's great and awesome, and I encourage you all in the activities, and you know, I straddle the two sides of the fence, and so I could help wherever I can help. to do so. I don't know about keeping up with Ebbie. I know 26 miles a minute, but
You could walk a mile.
I could walk. I remember last time they did the power walking thing, and I here walking with Leon Williams and Leslie Miller, and all of a sudden they hit the curve, and that was it. Them long legs and stuff kicking, and they leave me so far behind. I was like, what? No, can't deal with that. But
And
yeah,
Mr. Miller could walk, like,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, they fly us.
You don't compete
they
with
be
him.
running like to me it's more running than walking. Would they
And
be? doing?
Fallacious and
Power
other
walking.
than-
Yeah, Fallacious.
Oh yeah, Father Fallacious, yes.
So tell our people which I've asked you all another questions. You all had some things to say, but what would you like to leave everybody here thinking about so that they could uplift their life or raise the quality of their life, particularly the patients or even those out there who might just be concerned, right? Anybody?
Who want to go first? You, Melissa?
You know what? I think for me, I just one person's. It has always been. I don't like the idea when I hear people say, they just don't want to talk about it, or there was no one there for them during their treatment. So I just want everybody, as it relates to you're going through cancer, you have no reason to go through it alone. You just reach out and whatever it is that you need. The conversation, the first part of it is just reach out. You don't have to go through it alone. You don't have to be a part of a big group. You could work with me one-on-one. And definitely, I am here to provide that support. Money is always a factor in everything, but as much as we possibly can, and this is why Abby is doing, what she's doing, because of course we know that everybody will not be. When I told somebody of what it is that I was trying to accomplish, they look at me and they were like, "Girl, listen, that patient ain't gonna pay you no money." So, but you would never know if you don't start. You see what I'm saying? So the biggest thing is being able to offer the service, and we know that this service is very much so needed. And I just want to say thank you to Abby for being a big, big support to me ever since we met that day. She's been an amazing support all around with everything that I have tried to accomplish and do, from my health coaching business, now to saying that, okay, I'm doing this, this is what I want to do. And, she was like, "Melissa, go ahead and set it up, get your credentials, go get your certifications, do what you need to do, add quality and value to what it is that you're doing. Don't just say you're a patient navigator because you have 21 years experience. You know what I'm saying? Qualify, get qualified, and, happy that's exactly what I went and I did. And so now the service is here, and, we could get busy living, basically. Let's get busy living.
Yeah. So Doc, before you go, Paula McGregor says, at what point does a person contact the patient navigator?
At the minute you find out, I had a lady the other day that called me, and as a matter of fact, it wasn't even the lady that called me. It was her family member that called me and said that my cousin was just recently diagnosed. Can you reach out to her for me, please? And I actually, I gave them my number and I said, you tell her to give me a call. And, she gave me a call, and she hadn't even gotten back her pathology reports yet.
Right.
And she had a whole lot of questions. And of course, there was some fear there. And, I literally walked her through what the first steps would be. And so, and the patient navigation is not just for cancer patients too. I've actually had a lot of caregivers that actually reached out to me because they wanted to be of better support to the patients, So at the very beginning, wherever you are in the journey and you need some help, just give me a call.
Yeah. Wherever you feel that you need help, just ask. That's what I always tell people, right? 2 o'clock in the morning, yes. You might get the answer 2 o'clock, but you get it. Yeah. Go ahead, Doc.
You know what I want to say? Tomorrow, somebody will be diagnosed.
Mhm.
Every day, someone in our country is being diagnosed with cancer. It's a
Yeah.
reality. For a lot of us, we don't want to talk about it, or we want to hope we wake up and it's a dream. But I'm just here to say to you, listen, let's be proactive with our health.
Mhm.
If you are diagnosed, try to get information from persons who are able to steer you in the right direction.
Mhm.
Okay. And then speak with your oncologist or speak with your doctor to find out who you should be seeing and what you need to be doing. And just get a second opinion on it also. But know too that people say, oh, we can kick this and we can beat this. I don't get into them kinds of discussions because
Right.
I've seen too many people who have said that and they ain't here today. And
Mhm.
I'm just grateful that I'm here today after what I've gone through.
Mhm.
But know that in the process, hey, get to know God too. Because without him, I don't know how you could make it in dealing with what
Right.
you have to deal with.
Mhm.
But find someone who can help you, assist you, and to be able to go through the process because it's not easy. And find us if you need to. Get a hold of
Mhm.
one of us, and we can try and help steer
Madam
you
Producer
in
had the
that
number on the screen.
particular direction.
Yeah.
So please, Bahamas, let's be proactive about our health. And not, well, we have to say Bahamas, but this is a worldwide
Right. Yeah.
social media. So to anybody out there,
There we
we
go.
need to
How's
stay in
Dubai?
tune with our health and know our bodies. So that is my encouragement. And then I cannot end by not saying give and donate
Yes.
to MD organization and the Sister
Sister,
Breast
sister.
Cancer Group here in the Bahamas. Yes.
Awesome.
We'll
Awesome.
have that
Awesome.
GoFundMe account up in no time.
Yes. And once you get it, you send it to us and we'll put it up on the page also under your link so you could have it associated with the show. Because we don't take the shows down, folks. And so,
Okay.
ladies, well, thank you kindly for sharing all these nice nuggets and what we're doing to, as we call it on this show, create the new built environment. An environment that is intentional in terms of finding a way to get what we want our country and our society to be, so that it's not something we just buck up with. And this is what fallout, because I know when Doc was on those people's show, they used to talk about a lot of bucking up stuff, and the political people. But we want to be intentional in how we do, and Melissa and Doc, we take our hats off to you for going on this initiative and driving this niche market that is, when I say niche, that doesn't mean small, because it's huge. There's a lot of people out there need help, but they don't know where to look. This is a place to look. 242-557-1693, right? And I guess you have Facebook pages and everything else will be coming in the light.
Yeah.
So, yes, by all means. We encourage you all to pause, think about it with intentional thought, and consider where we go from here. Like, share, and follow us. And watch more of the videos if you found the content here nice, and let us know about that too. And tell us where other content you might want to have. And even if you want these ladies to come back again, let them know. Hit the buttons. Go.
We talked for a long time, Dale.
Me? I talk for long now?
Us.
you all
We
did?
talked for over an hour.
Yeah, but it's your show. Yeah, it was for
Yeah.
you. It wasn't for
Thank
me to
you.
tell you all what to do and stuff like that. I mean, for cancer, I still writing my book, Doc.
Yeah, you remember
Oh,
when we had that?
nice.
I'll never forget when Melissa invited me to do how to write a book series or
Yeah.
talk, and that was very interesting. Yeah,
I'm still writing my book too. I'm like on page 22 or something.
get going,
Okay.
get going, get it done.
Yeah.
We
Okay,
need to have
when
a part
finish,
two
when
book
by the time
writing.
you finish your 60, we will have our books done.
Good.
That's a deal. Okay.
You can put
All right,
those on
cool.
sale too, and help raise monies with them. You talk.
There you go. Yeah. All right, Madam Producer, everybody on social media around the world, from Dubai, Canada, United States, and all those places down in the Caribbean, etc., South America. Thank you kindly for watching, listening, learning. Good evening. Good.
Enjoyed the show? Then subscribe to us for more educational and inspirational content. Ring the bell so you never miss a show. Let's change the narrative, 242.